Okay. Okay. Hello. I'll wait for 2 more minutes. Okay, so someone wait for another people to come in. Okay. Okay. Hello. Hello. This is Teacher Mark. So today I'm gonna talk. Probably it's a good time for us to sharing about something about the AMC8 exam. Alright. So for those who actually know AMC8 or really want to take AMC8, I believe you have already noticed our pre-registration poster, right? So our pre-registration poster our pre-registration have started on the September 28th. So that's why today I would like to share something about AMC8, okay, about the exam and how should we prepare for the AMC8, okay, in the coming year. All right, so yeah, this is me, Teacher Mark. Okay, I'm currently the Sync Academy P4 team leader. I'm also in charge of the AMC8 program. So if you have any interest or any question about AMC8, okay, so you can ask me. All right. So today's seminar is gonna about the AMC8. So I'm gonna first introduce what is the AMC8, right? So many of you probably have no idea why and what is AMC8? Why should we take AMC8? Okay. Also, second part, I'll go through the module analysis very shortly. Tell you what are the knowledge points tested in the exam and what are the important modules that we need to learn before the exam. All right, so the third part is the allocation of exam time. So you'll see the property characteristic of AMC8 exam. Okay, so AMC8 exam only have 40 minutes. So allocation of exam time is very important. All right, and the last part is about exam preparation plan. So I have a timeline from now to the actual exam date. Okay, so planning a very detailed plan for you about how to prepare for the exam. All right, so let's start with the first part. Okay, so that basically the AMC8 introduction. So I believe many of you in Singapore, right? So if you are interested in Mass Olympiad, you might have taken almost SASMO and probably gonna take SMOPS and also IIP MWC, right? Okay, so that is one track. This track is mostly for government school students. So international school students in Singapore cannot take SMOPS. Okay? So this is another track of Mass Olympiad competition for you. And this track is the American Mass Competition track. So you can see we have a pyramid here. The base of the pyramid is our AMC8 competition. Okay, AMC8 competition is mainly about our P4, P5 students Mass Olympiad contents. Okay, so this is the base. Now, they still have the higher level competitions, AMC10 and AMC12. We also hold AMC10 and AMC12 this year, right? So AMC10 and AMC12 are mainly for secondary students. mainly for secondary students. And for Singapore students, you don't have the USAMO, you have the SMO instead. Okay, so the track to SMO is for almost MOPS II. Alright, so AMC8 will not get you to the SMO and IMO, but once again it's a track. Okay, it's another different track for Math Olympiad. Okay, especially for the international students. Alright, so AMC8, let me have a short brief introduction on this. Okay, AMC8, it has 25 questions, and the questions are multiple choice questions. Each question has 5 options. Okay, and the test duration, like I said, it's only 40 minutes. So 25 questions in 40 minutes. The full score is 25. So that means 1 point for each question, and no points and no deductions for wrong answers and no answers. Okay, and the registration restriction is that on the exam day you have to be at most grade 8 and at most 14.5 years old. Okay, so that is on the exam day. So next year, the 2024 exam date is in January 19th, okay, at 5 p.m. to 5:40. So our Sync Academy is cooperate with AMC. So we'll choose our test location near Novena. So this year it will be an in-person exam. Okay, so if you want to take the AMC, you need to come to Novena test point. All right. So 25 questions for 40 minutes. That's a lot of questions. So the time is very tight. It will test you about the calculation accuracy, also about the calculation speed. All right. I think this is the most important, most difficult part for the Singapore students, because as far as I know, many of the students are not very good at calculation. All right, so if you want to solve all the questions, at least try all the questions, you need to, on average, solve one question in 1.5 minutes. So that's a very tight time. Okay, and for AMC8 competition, we mainly have actually four prize. Okay, 4 prize. So the perfect score is rewarded for students who get 25 points. It's rewarded for students who get 25 full points, full scores. Okay, and the distinguished honor roll, this is a very important prize. Okay, and this is for the top 1 student in worldwide AMC8. So this is for top 1 student, and we'll see later in this seminar how many scores will guarantee. I don't mean guarantee, but you are very likely to win the distinguished honor roll. Okay, and also the last one is the honor roll. Honor roll is the top 5 students worldwide. So if you are top 5, so you need to compete with students in United States. You need to compete with students in China, students all around the world. To get top 5, then you'll get the honor roll. All right, so this is the score that we have for the distinguished honor roll and honor roll. You can see the top line is for the distinguished honor roll, which is the top 1. All right, so the average score to get you a distinguished honor roll is around 22. So try to recall, we only have 25 questions in total, 22 points. That means you can have at most 3 questions wrong. Okay, that's 22 points. Okay, that's for the distinguished honor roll and top 1. So for the top 5 students, the requirement to get the honor roll is around 17, 18. Okay, but in recent years, you can see you need to get a 19 or 18 to get a honor roll. Okay. So this is the score line. All right, and for this year's AMC, okay, our pre-registration time is September 28th. Already begins. So you can register register for the AMC8 competition on our website. Okay, and the official registration period is November 15th to December 31st. Yeah, 31st. Yeah, to December 31st. And the registration fee is $18 for each. Okay. Okay, so the second part is about module analysis. I'm gonna analyze what kind of knowledge point you need to know before the exam. Okay? So let's see. So normally we divide all the Math Olympiad questions into 7 modules. So word problem, geometry, calculation, counting, number series, journey problem, and combinatorics. Okay, so as you can see in this pie chart, right, the word problem and the geometry are the most important module in AMC8. Right, and in the right pie chart is the recent 3 years. So you can see in recent 3 years, the counting and probability module is increasing weight in the 3 years. Okay, and take note here, the counting and probability is what we learn in secondary school. So it's not part of the primary school material, okay? So this is the very important part. All right, so we can look at this. So word problem and geometry are most important modules, just like I said. All right, and in word problem, we normally have the average, we have the ratio, we have the percentage ratio, right? It will test the analysis ability of students, okay? Also, the questions are normally not very long, okay? Unlike NEMOs or unlike SMOPs, the word problem will not be very long, but it will test you whether you can use the corresponding correct method to solve the question very quickly, okay? But because remember, you only have 1.5 minutes to solve each question. At most 1.5 minutes on average to solve each question. Okay, so that means you need to find the correct method to solve the word problem very quickly. Okay, and for geometry, the geometry will test spatial awareness. One important knowledge point is the circle and the Pythagoras theorem. Okay, so this is also the knowledge that you will not learn in the primary school. All right, so this is Math Olympiad material. Okay, and also I mentioned counting and probability. Counting and probability, as you can see, in the past 4 years, it's increasing the weight. All right, it's getting more important in AMC8 because AMC8. Counting and probability, well, it itself, it's a secondary school material, right? Okay, and it is also very difficult for students in primary school, right? So if you want to get if you want to get an honor roll in AMC8, if you want to get a distinguished honor roll, right, you need to learn this. Okay, you need to learn this. Okay, and for counting and combinatorics, right, this 3 also journey problem. These 3 modules are not heavily tested in AMC8. Okay, so it mainly tests the fundamental knowledges. So simple questions, easy questions. As long as you know, as long as you have learned the knowledge point, you can solve the question. Okay, these are all about these 3 modules. Okay, so let's see what exact knowledge point we need to know in each module. Right, in the word problem is one of the most important modules. Okay, word problem is one of the most important modules. So, like I said, well, it will test the average problem, but only the basic concept. Okay, only the basic concept. How to calculate the average? You see, it tests 14 questions in recent 10 years. All right, so that's roughly more than 1 question in every year's paper. And also the percentage ratio problem. The percentage ratio problem will test you about the percentage. Right? It will test you about the ratio. So ratio problem is a very important type of problem in the word problem module. Right? So you can see we have 12 questions in the recent 10 years. You need to know how to use the ratio to solve the problem. Okay, also geometry, like I said, we need to know basically all the geometry modules. Right? Some module we haven't learned in primary school, even in P4 Math Olympiad. Right? So you see we have the same height model, we have similar triangles. Right? We also have similar triangles. These are the P5 material. And we also have the Pythagoras theorem. The Pythagoras theorem is must test question in AMC8. Okay, so you need to know this concept before you take the exam. Okay, and for counting and probability, first of all, you need to know the combination and permutation. So combination permutation is basically the multiplication principle we have learned. So this is one part, and also for the probability part, okay, it will test coins, balls, ask you what is the probability that you will get a consecutive heads, right? So say for example, this question, problem 18 from 2019 AMC8 question, right? It will ask what is the probability that the sum is an even number. And also in 2022 AMC8, the last question, the most difficult question is about the probability. Okay? And for number theory module, the number theory module are mostly very easy questions. Okay? It will test you the divisibility, but at most test you the divisibility of 9. Okay, so these are very easy questions, and also will test you the prime factorization. Okay. All right, last one, we have a number and calculation. All right, for calculation, it will ask you about the fraction calculation. All right, so how can we do fraction simplification? How can we do the cross cancellation? And we'll also test you the arithmetic sequence. How can we calculate the sum of an arithmetic sequence? And how can we do the pairing to help us calculate very quickly? Okay, and for the combinatorics, we can divide it into two parts. Sports game is very common. Basically tells you the sports rules, how many games will be played, and in each game, how many points will be earned. Okay, this is one part. And for the logic reasoning, it's also very easy questions, okay, and not very often tested in AMC8. Okay, for the journey problem, this only tests the very easy questions. It only tests the basic concepts. Okay, for example, this question, the question 5, problem 5. Problem 5, all you need to do is to look at the diagram and find the distance and travel by the animals. Okay? So in journey problem, it only tests you the basic concept. All you need to know is to find how to find out the average speed. Right? Okay, but like I said, we have some secondary school material. Right? So here are the two secondary school material that will be tested in AMC8. The first one is about the axis and the coordinate system. Okay, so axis and coordinate system is not tested in ELMOS or SMOPS or II. Okay, this is not tested. So you need to learn this specifically for this competition. Okay, and we also have the square root, negative number, absolute values. But as long as you know the concept of this, okay, you can solve the questions. All right, so let's look at this table. All right, this table shows the scoring rate of each question in the past 10 years. So you can see, we can see many green parts. The green parts represent the high scoring rate questions. Okay, so you can see from this table, the first 15 questions are mostly easy questions that you can score a very high score. Okay, you can get a very high score. The average score in the first 15 questions are very high. Okay? But look at question 16 to question 20. Question 16 to question 20. So this is the second phase. the second stage. In this stage, you'll see some hard questions. The hard questions are in red. Yeah, you'll see some hard questions, and you'll see most of the intermediate level question, mid-level question in these 5 questions. Okay, and the last 5 questions are mostly very hard, very difficult. So as you can see, for the last 5 questions, the average scoring rate was about 20%. Like I said, it has 5 options. So if you make a guess, ideally, theoretically, the scoring rate should be 20%. Okay, so if the scoring rate is below 20%, that is basically means, okay, it's lower than guessing. It's lower than guessing. Okay, so like I said, question 1 to question 15, they are mostly very easy questions. So if you want to get a honor roll, or if you want to get a distinguished honor roll, you need to score a very high, you need to score most of the questions correct in the question 1 to question 15. Okay, but if you want to get a distinguished honor roll, the last 5 questions are the most important questions. Okay, because distinguished honor roll need you to get at least 22 points. Okay, if you want to get at least 22 points, that means you need to score at least 2 questions correct from the last 5 questions. Okay, so let's look at this table. Alright, so you can see 3 stages. Question 1, the first stage, question 1 to question 6. Okay, all you need is a good foundation. All you need is a good foundation. And for question 7 to question 15, you need to be very familiar with P4 to P5 Math Olympiad contents. If you have learned the P4 to P5 Math Olympiad contents, then you can solve this 9 questions very easily. Okay? And for the last 5 questions, we know the scoring rate is very low. But like I said, these 5 questions are very important for students who want to get a distinguished honor roll, because you need to score at least 3 points out of these 5 questions. Okay, so the easy questions, the correct rate are above 60. So we look at all the easy questions in the past 10 years. There are around 5 questions, 4.5 questions in the paper, 4.5 easy questions. Right, so the property of these 5 questions is, well, the most easy questions are about word problem, the average problem, okay, and calculation, fraction calculation. All you need to know is the basic concept. Okay, so you don't need to spend a lot of time on these questions. Okay, so when you prepare for the AMC8 competition, you don't need to spend a lot of time on this type of questions. Okay, all you need to know is to learn the basic concept, right? And also for the square root, for the negative number, there will only be easy questions. So as long as you learn the basic concept of square root, okay, you learn the basic concept of negative number, you can solve this type of question. Okay, and for the mid-level question, the correct scoring rate is about 20% to 60%. Right, so you can see the pie chart here. Right, it's test evenly in all modules. These mid-level questions are very important for students who want to get an honor roll. Because to get an honor roll, you need to score at least 18 points, 18 or 19 points, right? That means if you want to score 18 or 19 points, you can make at most 3 mistakes in this mid-level questions. Why only 3 mistakes here? Because we have some hard questions. Right? We have some difficult questions. The difficult question that mostly occurs at the last 5 questions. So the scoring rate of these difficult questions are less than 20%, okay? So look at the pie chart. You can see that the difficult questions are most in geometry, number theory, counting, and probabilities, okay? So these difficult questions are important for students who want to get a perfect score, of course, perfect score, and for students who want to get a distinguished honor roll. Because for distinguished honor roll students, they get 22 points or above, right? So you need to get at least 2 difficult questions correct in order to get a distinguished honor roll. All right, the third part is about the allocation of exam time. So, like I said, you only got 40 minutes. You only got 40 minutes to do 25 questions, right? So the allocation of exam time is the key in acing the AMC8. Okay, so here is my suggestions. So I divide all the students, okay, to 3 groups. Okay, first you set your aim. Right? Your aim can be the top 1, which is the distinguished honor roll. Okay, or it can be the top 5, the honor roll, or you can have the young achiever. Young achiever is for students who are at most grade 6. Okay, for students who is below grade 6 and also scored 15 or above scores. Okay, so for this type of students, you'll get a young achiever prize. So let's start with the young achiever. So how should students aiming at young achiever to allocate their exam time? So try to recall the difficulty levels I showed in previous slides. All right. So the first 6 questions are the most easy questions. First 15 questions actually. First 15 questions are very easy, okay, very easy. As long as you have learned the basic concept in P4 and P5 Math Olympiad, you can solve the problem, okay? So for those who want to get a young achiever, you need to solve the first 6 questions in 6 minutes, okay? Then solve the 7 to 11 in 10 minutes, right? Then for 12 to 15, you spend 12 minutes on it, on these 3 questions. Okay, after you finish the first 15 questions, double check. Because after you score 15 points, you can get a Young Achiever prize. So the first 15 questions are very important for those who only want to get a Young Achiever. Okay, then you spend some time, if you have some spare time, right? Then you spend the time to try the question 16 to 20. So these 5 questions are mostly the middle level questions. If you have time left, you can try these 5 questions. If you can get 1 or 2 of this correct, then basically you will guarantee a Young Achiever prize. Okay, but how about for the honor roll students? For the top 5 students, the score, your aim score is above 19, above 18 or 19, okay? So if you want to get above 18 or 19, that means in the first 20 questions, you need to get almost every question correct, right? You need to get almost every question correct in the first 20 questions. Okay, so you need to spend less time in the easy questions, in the first 10 easy questions. Okay, so my suggestion is you spend 10 minutes in the first 10 easy questions. Then you use 25 minutes to do the question 11 to question 20. Okay, you need to make sure that you at most you make at most 2 mistakes in the first 20 questions. Then you can get an honor roll. Okay, and don't forget double check. I know many of you don't have the habit to do the double check, right? So if you are done, after you finish the 20 questions, go back, check these 20 questions. If you can get these 20 questions all correct, you'll get an honor roll, okay, no doubt. Okay, so for the last category, for those who want to win the Distinguished Honor Roll, right, your aim is to score at least 22 points. At least 22 points, that means at most 3 questions wrong, right? At most 3 mistakes. If you want to get at most 3 mistakes, you need to spend less time in the first 15 easy questions. Okay, so you spend around 15 minutes in the first 15 easy questions. Okay, and don't forget, double check. Okay, you need to make sure that these 15 questions you get all correct. Okay, and then for questions 16 to 20, you can spend on average 2 minutes per question. Okay, these questions are not that hard. But you need to do some calculation in these 5 questions. So you need to spend some time, a little bit more time on these 5 questions. Okay, and if you want to get a Distinguished Honor Roll, you can have at most wrong answer in the first 20 questions. Okay, so after this 25 minutes, you are done with the first 20 questions. Then you spend the rest of the time on the difficult questions. Because from question 21 to question 25, these 5 questions are most important questions for those who want to get a Distinguished Honor Roll. Okay? You need to get at least 2 or 3 correct. You need to get at least 2 or 3 correct out of the last 5 questions. Okay? So this is my suggested allocation of exam time. Right? So let's look at our target score for each category. Okay, so let's look at the Young Achiever part first. Like I said, if you want to get a Young Achiever, you need to score at least 15. Okay, so that basically means you need to get most of the question correct in the first 15 questions. Okay, you need to get most of the questions correct in the first 15 questions because they are the easy questions, right? The question 16 to question 25, they are the difficult questions. Okay, so if you are aiming for the Young Achiever, just skip the secondary material question and forget about the last 5 questions. Okay, just don't do the last 5 questions. Don't do the last 5 questions because that's just a pure waste of time. Okay? Make sure that you can get at least 15 questions correct in the first 20 questions. Okay? Focus on the first 15 questions. Alright, for those who want to get the honor roll, who want to be the top 5, right? You need to focus on the first 20 questions because you need to get at least 18 questions correct. And like I said, question 21 to question 25, these are the difficult questions. So it's not very easy to get a point for these difficult questions. That's why you need to get the points you needed for the honor roll in the first 20 questions. Okay, so this is for students who want to get an honor roll. Right, so if you aiming for the honor roll with distinction, right, distinguished honor roll, you need to make sure that you get all correct. At most question 1 in the first 20 questions. Okay, otherwise it is basically impossible for you to get the distinguished honor roll. Okay, so if you can get 19 or 20 questions correct in the first 20 questions, then all you need to do is to figure out 3 questions in the last 5 questions. Okay, so you can see in this table, you need to score 15 in the first 15 questions, and then 4 to 5 correct answers in the question 16 to question 20. Okay, and it would be great if you can score 3 questions correct. Okay, you can score 3 points from the last 5 questions. That's how you can get a distinguished honor roll. It's not easy. Okay, it's not easy. All right, so finishing this part, let me give you some suggestions on how to prepare for the exam. Okay, how to prepare on the exam. So here is the timeline that I give. Right, currently it's the October. Right, currently it's October 7th. Am I right? Right, October 7th. So we will have our exam, AMC8 exam on the January 19th. So we only have 3 months left. So how can we get prepared in the 3 months? So here is what I suggest you to do. Okay, so from October to November, you need to systematically learn and review every knowledge point that will be tested in the exam. Right? That will be tested in the exam. So in this month, in the coming months, you need to learn. You need to know what knowledge you haven't learned. Okay, what knowledge you are not good at. Then you systematically learn and review this kind of knowledge. Okay, then when the time comes to come in the November, right, you need to start do some practice. Right, you need to start do the past year papers. Why you do the past year paper at this time? Okay, first of all, it will help you to realize, well, what kind of knowledge point I haven't learned, or what kind of knowledge point I'm not good at. Okay, then I can go back and learn this knowledge point. Right. Second good thing about the past year paper exam or the mock test is that you can get some practice, okay, to do the exam simulation. Right. You need to practice your allocation of time in a mock exam. Okay. So allocation of time and in exam situation is very important to get a high score in AMC8 competition. Okay, so that's why you need to do some, at least 4 to 5 mock tests in November to December. Okay, when we come back from the new year, you still have around 20 days left. So for these 20 days, okay, you need to look at the questions that you didn't get correct in the mock test. Okay, you look at the question you didn't get correct in the past year papers. Okay, and try to figure out why. Okay, look at the wrong questions. It's more helpful to learn some new knowledge points at the last 20 days. Okay, in the last 20 days. Okay, so here is the timeline. Okay, I suggest for the exam preparation. Right, so what are we going to do? What are our Think Academy going to do? So here is our preparation service. Okay, so first of all, you can join our WhatsApp group. We'll be sharing information. We'll be sharing the past year papers and the test information in our WhatsApp group. All right, and what do we have? What do we have for the AMC8 preparation? You can see in October to November, we'll have a weekly AMC8 practice in the WhatsApp group. Okay, so every practice will be 12 questions per week. And I'll be recording a video explaining these questions. Okay, and for October 21st to November 18th, I'll be holding a 5-lesson short-term course. Okay, I'll be holding a 5-lesson short-term course. This 5 lesson, I'll be cover 5 most important modules in AMC8. Okay, and after the mock test, after the preparation course, we'll have a 4-week mock test. So in this 4-week mock test, you can practice your exam and time allocation. Okay, and you can try to get familiar with the exam situation. Okay, so don't be panicked when you do the mock test. So for the first time you do the mock test, I believe many of you will get panicked because you don't have enough time. Okay, that's why you need to do the mock test. You need to practice your allocation of time. Okay, so don't forget the exam registration deadline. Right, the deadline is on 31st of December. Okay, and in the 2024 January 19th, we will be holding an in-person AMC8 exam. Okay, so I'll give the exam certificate to everyone who signed up for the AMC8. Right, so this is the course information about the shortened course and the mock test. Right, teacher Belinda and I will do the shortened course and mock test run through. Okay, so you see, we'll learn the calculation, number theory, geometry, word problem, probability, and combinatorics. 5 most important topics in the AMC8. Okay, so that is basically everything about today's seminar. Okay, so if you have any question, you can type your question in the chat box. Okay, if no question, I'll wait for 5 more minutes. Okay, if you have any question, you can type in the chat box. Okay, thank you.